Religion is supposed to be about tolerance, about loving your neighbor, but if your neighbor doesn't agree with your religion, well, there goes the love. There's a battle brewing in Temecula. Plans to build an Islamic center of Temecula Valley are meeting some opposition. A group of community residents worried that building a mosque could create religious tension. In fact, there's a Baptist church just across the street from the planned mosque. The pastor of that church said it's like mixing water and oil, predicting a confrontational atmosphere if the mosque is allowed to go up. So, Charlotte, I'll ask you, what's wrong with building a mosque? Shouldn't tolerance prevail over fear in this case?
I think tolerance should definitely prevail. I think this is just an example of prejudice, and I'm glad that the City Planning Commission is saying they're only going to look at land use issues such as noise and traffic and environmental issues and parking and that kind of thing. And I'm hoping that when this gets built, that the people in that area will understand that not all Muslims are extreme or violent and that they will learn tolerance. That's what hopefully will happen in the future with this.
David?
Well, I'll go a little bit further than Charlotte in this. I am appalled that a minister of an organized religion and an organized church would come out and say that, oh, well, we're already here, and because we don't necessarily mix with them, they shouldn't be allowed to come here. Hi, guess what? America, founded on the principle of religious freedom. You may not like their religion, and you don't have to. But you can't tell them they can't come here, and word up, they're already here. They've already got a mosque there. All they're trying to do is build their own building. They're in some warehouse nearby.
It wasn't too many centuries ago when Catholicism and Protestantism were like oil and water, and now they get along just fine, as an example.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And it's never going to get any better if we keep trying to deny them the opportunity to do what the rest of us do freely, which is worship the God of our choice. Doesn't matter if you worship a stuffed animal. This is America. You're allowed to practice any religion you want. That's what this country was founded on. And when I read the article over the weekend with this minister, I was like, ooh, he's going to regret saying that. He really is, because he looks like an ass.
Well, you know what? The question is, will he regret it? Or will the people in his congregation say, you know what, you're right. We agree with him. We think that's a good call. We don't want the mosque here.
We'll see, won't we?
Do you have anything, Charlotte? Or did you just take a deep gasp?
Well, I mean, it's not only happening there, it's happening in New York City, too, with Ground Zero. And there's the same conflict going on. So this is, a big problem we're having in our country with not being tolerant of the Muslim religion.
Okay, last topic. At times, Lindsay Lohan has been a mean girl. At times, she's been a bad girl. And tomorrow, the time has come for her to be a girl behind bars. Lohan's expected to turn herself in to Linwood authorities tomorrow to start her 90-day sentence for violating DUI probation. But she's been in denial about the whole thing, even doing this photo shoot for Complex magazine. She'll be in a cell, 12 by 8, placed in isolation for her own safety. I'd imagine the judge feels Lohan needs to get this to get back on track. But will it really help? David, when Lindsay Lohan is released from jail, will she be a better person, or will she jump right back on her path to destruction?
Well, jail's not going to cure what ails Lindsay Lohan. And the reality is being sentenced to rehab following jail won't do it either. The only thing that's going to fix Lindsay Lohan is Lindsay. And she's going to have to address her substance abuse problem until she realizes that there's a problem here. This is going to be a pattern that's going to keep repeating itself. So she's going to go to jail, and then she'll go to rehab. And if she doesn't take it seriously, she'll go out and reoffend and do so. It's just a matter of time. And this is this age-old thing. And you talk to anybody who's been around anyone with a substance abuse problem, and they'll tell you this is a Band-Aid. It's not going to fix it. So is jail going to fix Lindsay? No, it won't. But, I think it's a good first step. I think it's about time that she be subjected to some cause and effect and some punishment. I mean, there's two camps. There's some people who think that she's being made an example of and that she's being treated too harshly. I disagree. I think she's finally being treated the way the rest of us are being treated. If I missed a bunch of alcohol classes that I were sentenced to by a judge, I'd be in jail. So...
All right, well, we lost David there for a second. Charlotte, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this will be a pivotal point in her life or not, but I also hope that she's a role model for a lot of people out there. And she's part of the millennial generation, which, according to an article I read in the San Francisco Chronicle, there were studies that show that the people born between 1982 and 2000, the millennials, are actually overly optimistic, not realistic, used to having things handed to them on a platter, showing up and getting an award for just showing up. And my daughter actually is part of that generation. So I'm hoping that this is kind of a reality check, not only for her, but also for people in that generation. I'm not sure that she's going to serve her whole sentence, because they say that on average, females who are not violent will serve about a fourth of their sentence. But I have a friend who actually, Pam Ferdin, who was a child actress on The Odd Couple, and she got a 3-month sentence, very similar, and she served 24 hours in that prison. So I'm not sure that she's going to serve a lot of time there.
Well, it'll be longer than 24 hours, I'll tell you that. David, how long do you think it'll be for her?
I'm predicting about 20 days.
20 days? All right,
That's my
Charlotte,
prediction.
how many days?
Because there's no sheriff that's going to let her out after the Paris Hilton debacle. She will serve time.
Yeah, I think there's too much of a spotlight on this issue, so they can't really let her out too soon, because they would get criticized for that.
All right, David, Charlotte, good job. Always a pleasure. I'll talk to you guys next week.